I guess we have a lot of youths in Nigeria that are actually technology savvy.
Yeah.
But how much support do they get from government? Government. Why are you laughing?
I think at the end of the day, the question is, we all are the government essentially. So when you realize, when you take it that way, you essentially stop waiting for any special.
No, for me as an individual, yes, I could support you as an individual by patronizing you, by using whatever it is that you're developing. But I mean, government does a lot of work, you know, when it comes to technology and all that. How much support do they get from them? Or they are, just as you said, have to give it to international bodies?
So I think there was an event where somebody was mentioning something like, okay, that was even talking to the banks, not even to the government, saying, hey, we have accounts with you. For instance, we have small businesses that are providing services, but essentially you give it to the very large ones. So can you actually now like create like a mandate that says 10% of all the projects that we get goes to small businesses that actually operate with us? So that can be like an interesting thing to say, okay, hey, from governments, we could allow small-scale tech companies that are just starting up that are saying, okay, how can we give maybe 10% of all government-related technology projects to those kind of small businesses?
But are they doing that? Are they doing it? Because that's the way to encourage local content.
Yes.
You know?
Francis, why are you being okay? You're not doing that. Apart from the efforts we see from the Ministry of Comtech, I mean, it's still very low. Honestly, the largest user of Oracle is a state government in Nigeria, Enterprise Oracle Solutions, and they're the largest users. So the truth of the matter is that money, we need to start from the government. I know, I agree with Francis that says that we are the government, but it's also the government as an establishment. So we need to see them come up and support more technology companies, because technology is an enabler. It's one of the platforms which we can leapfrog our development. That is the truth, you know.
And, you know, if we can actually also build that local content, all the monies will, of course, come back to us.
The funny thing that we're even noticing recently is that we have a lot of more foreign investments coming into Nigerian tech space. Essentially meaning that a huge percentage of the technology companies that we have, especially the young ones that are just starting off, are being actually owned to a reasonable extent by foreigners. So you'll find that at the end of the day, it was a conversation we were having upstairs about having local VCs supporting or investing in Nigerian-based businesses. But the truth is that many of them don't even understand investing in technology. And I think that is another key area the government can actually play. Even if they are not actually directly investing or supporting or even doing projects or programs that can actually support these businesses, they can actually start bringing together clusters of people or even larger scale businesses that are probably in other sectors to start looking into technology as a way to actually expand and invest in, to actually grow their entire conglomerate.
Just to buttress what Francis just said, can you imagine that, I won't mention names, but two of the largest e-commerce sites, one company has percentage in both of them. The two that you know, one company has percentage in both of them. So just to buttress his point, that a lot of VC funds are coming in that are foreign, that are owned by foreigners. And what it simply means is that when the time comes and a push comes to shove, it's gone. So we need to begin to think of our own. How do we get people, money bags, to begin to think about how to put money in technology? I was just telling him, there are people who have money. All they have is just a mobile phone. We need to let them understand how they can support the tech space. And just like Francis mentioned, we need to understand that there's some businesses that are not mainly tech, but they rely on tech. So those businesses too should be given support. And that's where things like social enterprises, you know, in the social space, those businesses too should be given support. In that way, we can now ensure that we grow the ecosystem holistically.
Now, do we have much needed solutions, you know, to help the growth of SMEs across the country?
I think what you will see mostly is like a huge cluster in like places like Lagos. So because like it's like if anything is happening in technology, first of all, it will definitely like happen in Lagos. So you have places like Lagos, you have places like Abuja, Port Harcourt, and a couple of other cities that are where the hubs are already even coming into. Yes, a couple of things are happening in other states, but they are not as pronounced as in these other cities because of maybe the hub or the community structure that has been built to enable people to discover those things. Because a lot of things might be happening, but most of the time, people don't even know. There are even a lot of solutions that are in this Lagos that you'll be amazed that, okay, you guys have done this. Wow, I never knew they existed. So it's about being able to even put a discovery structure to allow people to discover technology products that has been built here and to see how we can actually promote and enable the adoption, essentially.
But again, Chimizi, we have to also stress that the SME owner out there also owes, the responsibility is on him or her to also go out to seek out solutions for him or herself. A simple site like Eventbrite can give you an idea of the kind of events that are going on that you can go and learn. It's about learning. You just have to keep learning, relearning, and unlearning all that you have. That's the only way to survive in today's world. So while we say yes, there should be support for the SMEs should go out of their way. I mean, every day you have almost 1.5 billion Google searches. What that simply means is that Google alone also is a resource for an SME to use to find out ideas, find out what is happening within his industry. So I think also that there's a responsibility from the government, from the tech side, and also from the SME owners side to also look out for information that would help him or her grow the business.
Now, are there technologies that, are being developed specifically for SMEs?
A whole lot of them. A whole lot of technology.
Francis has one.
Okay, so for instance, what we've noticed is, if you look at, let's say, the Alaba or even the large retail market, Nigeria is largely retail in terms of business. We have a huge retail market. And what you notice is that essentially a lot of money gets missing. Inventory, cash is missing across the business outlets. And most of them, because they are quite small, don't have the capacity to actually buy all the huge technology infrastructure that is required, that most you will find in larger chain stores, essentially. So essentially, the idea is to have a solution that enables you manage your inventory, your sales from your store. But even when you're not there, so let's say you travel to Onitsha, or you travel to China to actually import new products, you can actually still see what is happening within your stores. And that changes the entire business control. It ensures that wherever you are, money or inventory don't get missing in your business. It gives you control essentially as a business owner wherever you're located. And I think that is the essential thing that most businesses want to be able to have. How am I doing? How am I doing compared to last month? How am I doing next month? Another key thing we've also noticed is the issue of access to facility for most retail business, because most of the time they're saying, hey, the banks are not willing to give money. And you have the conversation with the banks are like, that's what we do. Our business is to give money. That's and when you
but they don't have, perhaps they don't have the collateral.
So, but the interesting thing that most of the banks said is that, hey, the funny thing is that if we can actually see how these businesses are performing, because we can't tell how they are performing, I don't know the health of this business, so I'm not sure whether I'm willing to give them a facility, because I can't guarantee that they'll be able to repay. So our own solution essentially allows the business owner to create an account for their bankers to see how they are performing, which becomes almost like your collateral to say, this is how I'm doing over the last 3 months or 6 months. And so if you can use that as a benchmark, you can say if you give me X amount in facility, I can repay over a period of time. So essentially our solution don't only allow you manage your inventory or control when you're not there, but essentially if you do it rightly, it could essentially enable you have access to facility or even better intelligence around your business.
All right. Well, for the SMEs, of course, to begin to take full advantage of the opportunities that technology offers in business, just as we've discussed here, government, and of course the private sector actually would have to support them. Now, what kind of support, just a quick one, what kind of support should we be advocating for, specific about it?
I think, like we said, first will still be education. It still has to be education. How do the government liaise with a lot of the business schools, tertiary institutions, individual programs that they will do regularly to, as a front or as an avenue to actually start promoting adoption of technology by small businesses. I think that would be a critical one for me.
All right.
Well, my response will be funding. I think that we need to make it a point of duty to fund more SMEs, to fund more SMEs in the tech space and in other spaces. SMEs need funding to survive. And with the kind of operating environment we have, it's difficult for, I'm a small business owner. It's difficult to survive in Nigeria. So we need support and funding from government.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It's been an interesting conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fred Amata, and of course, Francis Osifo.
Thank you so much.
Right. Well, I've been speaking with Fred Amata. He's an ICT expert, and of course, Francis Osifo, also an ICT expert, and the CEO Inspire Soft Limited. And we've been talking about how best the SMEs can leverage ICT to grow their business. It's on that note that we draw the curtain on today's edition of the program. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Chimizi Ubi Iwago.